Hello and welcome back to another Diabetic Witterings with me, Michael Jex, the tea drinking author, with a cup of Sainsbury's cheapest. Very good. Now, I've got a few things listed down here to chat about. Only going to keep it very brief. I've got to just make the standard comment, which is A, I am not a doctor, I'm not practicing medicine, and I'm certainly not trying to give anyone advice, apart from go and get yourself checked for diabetes if you've got any suspicions that you might have it. Because it's the sort of thing that creeps up on you. I had it for about 10 years before I noticed. Well, I didn't notice actually, the doctors discovered it. And I'm very glad they did, because my eyesight has deteriorated badly. And if it had been spotted, if I'd noticed it 5 years earlier, I'd probably not be in such a dire state. So diabetes has a lot of deleterious impacts on life. So it's not something you can just ignore. So if you've got any suspicions that you might have any of the symptoms of diabetes, go and get yourself checked out. Now, my case. In the last 3 weeks, I've spent 2 weeks away with Smithsonian Journeys, which is a brilliant little firm. They do a number of tours around the world, and they ask me to join in as expert on murder, mystery and crime writing. And so we start off in Torquay, where Agatha Christie was born, and then we'll take a coach and we'll wander around the whole of the south of the country, and I can talk about my books on Dartmoor, talk about the Hound of the Baskervilles, talk about Bernard Knight and his book set in Devon. I'll talk about Becky Tope and her book set in the Cotswolds and all over, Dick Francis, Colin Dexter, P.D. James, Dorothy L. Sayers. Talk about loads and loads of people and just chat around writers, writing, how we do it, how we design plots, all that sort of thing. And it's great fun. Of course, one problem with going away, if you're diabetic, is making sure that your diet is okay. And so what I tend to do is I tell all of the, well, Smithsonian tells all the hotels that when Jex arrives, no sugar, no carbohydrates. That involves no potatoes, no rice, no anything really. And that's been perfectly all right. However, in between the 2 trips, in the second week of the 3, I had to go in for the latest set of eye injections, and I was very glad with the fact that it's moved from going every month to then every 6 weeks to then every 8 weeks and finally every 10 weeks. Having injections in your eyeballs is not pleasant, and dragging it out for as long as possible is very appealing. But this last time I was told there has been degradation again, and so I'm going back to every 8 weeks. Well, okay, I can live with it. But it is, not good news. At the same time, my blood sugars have been increasing. Now, I don't think it's because of diet, because I haven't really changed my diet that much. There have been a certain number of things, such as when I've ordered a side salad, they've got some sort of salad dressing on them. And of course, what do they put in salad dressing? Sugar, always. So that has been potentially an issue. So that might be one reason why my blood sugars have gone up. But the thing that's probably had the biggest impact is the lack of exercise. Just walking 5 to 8 miles a day, which is what I always used to do. And then the last thing is my weight has piled on. Because of sitting on a coach and just talking at people, my weight has increased. I've gone up from about 78 kilos to about 80 kilos. It's not outrageous, but it is just that bit higher, and it's something to keep an eye on. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that I'm recording this, and I'm going to edit this before I go and take the dogs out for a long walk, and it's going to be a long one. I'm going to have to pause now because there's a man coming at the door. Well, that was fun. The postman knocked on the door opposite and then didn't wait for the door to open, turned around, came back here. As he was doing that, they opened the door, looked out, saw he was coming here, thought, oh, he must have made a mistake. So they closed their door. So I've just taken the parcel over to them. Anyway, where was I? Yes. So I've lost the train of thought now, because that's what happens when you get someone bang on your door. But, so with the eyes, the bloods and the weight, it's something to be aware of. So my next job is going to be organising another HbA1c test, which hopefully can be done fairly quickly, get that all measured. And then it's going to be a case of increasing the walking regularly, make sure I keep the number of calories down so I reduce my weight, and then it's really just a case of avoiding any type of carbohydrate. The thing that really shook me, well, it didn't shake me that much, but the thing that got to me was yesterday, Monday, when I had a fairly light meal, which was lentil and tomato soup with various vegetables, very tasty. I only had a very small quantity, 3 ladles worth, and I had 2 sourdough thins and an oat cake. And when I checked my bloods an hour and a half later, I was at 13.5 in the bloods. Now in English terms that's millimole per litre, and it should be about 8.5 an hour and a half, 2 hours after your meal. In my case it was 13, so clearly something very wrong there. I can only assume it is because the lentils were very heavily cooked, and I think the more you cook your carbohydrate, whether it's pulses or whatever it might be, then the easier it is for the body to break down the carbohydrate into sugars and get it into your system. So that's not good, especially since our lentil soup tends to be our go-to dish on a Monday night. It's irritating. I think we'll have to find another one. In addition to that, when I woke up this morning, my bloods were at 7 point... where were they? I've forgotten now. I'll just check on here. So, Agamatrix 7.2. Which isn't high, it's below 8, but it still seems higher than it should be. In my experience, usually when I wake up, it should be between about 5.5 and 6. So something's going wrong there. So, interesting. It could be the lack of exercise for 3 weeks. It could be any number of things. Could be stress, could be not sleeping very well, could be, yeah, there's no way of telling. So anyway, going to go and get an HbA1c test, find out what's happening with our blood sugars. And if you have any sort of suspicion, if you're, for example, feeling very lethargic through the day, if you don't seem to have much energy, well, go and look up the symptoms on any website. The symptoms for diabetes are very clear, they're very well known, and it wouldn't take you too long to check up in them. But if you do and there's any indication you might have diabetes, for goodness sake, go and get yourself checked over with your physician. And that's it for now. So it's just a little update on how I'm doing. Clearly not particularly well, but not as bad as some. I still have some eyesight. I've still got some hearing. Falling apart basically. My hearing's gone, my eyesight's gone, and my muscles don't feel particularly strong. But I'll get there, I'll improve. Right, and that's about it. So, thanks a lot for watching. If you feel that's useful, do please feel free to give me a thanks or join Patreon or any of those things. Buy me a coffee and like, subscribe, hit the bell, that lot. Yeah, it's all very boring, isn't it? So, apart from that, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.